Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said the government has seized high-power weapons and that the U.S. has no control over the sale of such arms. In Brazil, the Chamber of Deputies approved a bill presented by the government of President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva that guarantees equal pay for men and women. Rwandans grieved for lost loved ones and destroyed homes after powerful floods and landslides tore through the country, killing at least 130 people. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said during his morning conference on Thursday that the government has seized high-power weapons and points out that the U.S. has no control over the sale of such weapons. The head of state indicated that sectors of the U.S. oppose all restrictions to sale of weapons. He also indicated that his counterpart Joe Biden appreciates to work jointly with Mexico in the fighting against armed trafficking, fentanyl, and illegal migration. On the other hand, the head of the Mexican Secretary and Security and Citizens Protection, Rosa Isela Rodriguez, said that one of the main topics discussed during the U.S.-Mexico summit in Washington was precisely arms trafficking, and added that the authorities in Washington committed themselves to increasing control and vigilance in the weapons market.
In the last joint meeting that took place in Washington, three main issues were discussed: the issue of fentanyl trafficking, drug trafficking, and also arms trafficking. And in this second issue, Mexico stressed the importance for our country to stop this trafficking, and that the United States should also do its part in the operations that they normally carry out. However, they should intensify them.
The Mexican head of state said he agreed with measures that help prevent arms smuggling, since the U.S. has no control over the sale of weapons.
Everything that means getting together to prevent the smuggling of weapons for all the damage it causes. A few days ago, we reported about the arms seizures, which was a lot. And we are talking about high-power weapons. And this is not sufficiently controlled in the United States, or rather, there is no control whatsoever over the sale of weapons. And inside the United States, there's a debate about this, and there are people who strongly oppose to control of weapons.
The president of Bolivia, Luis Arce, received the Brazilian Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira, with whom he discussed the development of an integration agenda. From the Casa Grande del Pueblo, the Bolivian head of state assured that they will deepen bilateral relations with Brazil and will expand thematic access of integration in the areas of energy, border, trade, consular, among others. Earlier, Bolivia's Foreign Minister Rogelio Maita agreed with his Brazilian counterpart on a roadmap including 15 areas of interest, referring to the reactivation of a bilateral dialogue mechanism and the recovery of medium voltage energy and gas. Ecuador's President Guillermo Lasso decreed to extend the military presence and operations nationwide to face terrorism. According to the executive decree 730 signed by the president, the armed forces will increase their military tactical capabilities and investigation in relation to terrorist actions. The government's measure seeks to include advising, training, and intervention of transnational origin. Authorities in Paraguay investigated excessive police violence after arresting people who were protesting over alleged electoral fraud. Experts of the National Police evaluated the expression of abuse of powers and acts of force during the day of protests by people allegedly linked to the National Crusade Party. The specialists analyzed the videos of the actioning of the public security agents against demonstrators who were blocking roads in the vicinity of the Supreme Court of Electoral Justice. The police detained 60 demonstrators on Monday and arrested on Tuesday 70 supporters of former president candidate Payo Cubas. Let's take a very short break now, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back from the south. On Thursday, Brazil's Chamber of Deputies approved a bill presented by the government of President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva that guarantees equal pay for men and women. The final bill presented by Deputy Jack Rocha of the ruling Workers' Party obtained 325 votes in favor and 36 against. Rocha points out that the text guarantees equal salaries and remuneration for women and men performing work of equal value or exercising the same functions. A federal police operation in Brazil has netted over 6,000 illegal weapons and led to at least 49 arrests since it was launched earlier this month. The operation was aimed at removing illegal weapons from gun owners who do not meet the legal requirements to own firearms. The action is part of President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva's program to reduce the number of guns in civilians' hands, which, according to the non-profit organization Instituto Sou da Paz, nearly tripled during the Jair Bolsonaro administration. The government of Venezuela will send an airplane to repatriate national migrants stationed at the Chilean-Peruvian border, according to the information from the Chilean Foreign Minister Alberto Van Claveren. The Chilean executive informed that the flight will take place during the early hours of next Sunday morning and will arrive at the Arica airport to pick up the group of Venezuelan migrants. The action is part of the Return to the Homeland program promoted by the Venezuelan government. The campaign stage for the elections next Sunday of the 50 members of the Chilean Constitutional Council comes to an end. Followers of the different political organizations of the countries are expected to carry out their final activities to close the campaign, with a period of silence to last until next Saturday. During the campaign in silence, the publications of surveys and other proselytizing activities are prohibited. The Constitutional Council to be elected on Sunday will be in charge of drafting the country's constitution, which, if approved on a referendum, will replace the constitution in force since the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. In Colombia, the Regional Indigenous Council of Cauca denounced the murder of the indigenous guard Wikitecna William Vargas following clashes between the descendants of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, the FARC, and the National Liberation Army, ELN. Clashes between both armed groups have been taking place since Wednesday in the municipality of Caldono in the department of Cauca. The council said that the community alerted the indigenous guard about what was happening. At the time of verification, William Vargas was seriously wounded in the crossfire. Due to this violent situation, the officers could not take the young man to the medical center, so he died.
It is not possible that in some way it continues to cost us the lives of indigenous guards, who lost their lives protecting the communities killed by armed groups. We ask them to leave the territories. Their presence has brought disharmony, and it has brought consequences for the indigenous government and for the communities they are in. Their presence in the territories is not good, it is not viable, and it will not be accepted by our communities. Regarding the humanitarian dialogues in which humanitarian minimums have been promoted, we believe that it could be a way out. However, these acts blur them, place them in a scenario of distrust, and it will be very difficult to initiate them.
In China, Taiwanese citizens rejected the arrival of U.S. contractors in the seal arms sales to Taiwan. Residents of the Taiwan's capital city took to the streets on Wednesday to protest against the visit of the U.S. defense contractors. The mobilization takes place within the framework of a visit of a group of 25 U.S. armed businessmen in Taiwan as part of their efforts to sell arms and ammunition to the region.
Neither United States arms sales to Taiwan nor any military cooperation between the United States and Taiwan will bring security or prosperity to the region. They will only lead Taiwan to war and destroy.
teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat IL 461 and join our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. On Thursday, Rwandans grave for loved ones and destroyed homes after powerful floods and landslides rolled through the country, killing at least 130 people and leaving many thousand homeless. The government was still counting the cost as families prepared to bury their dead in the aftermath of a natural disaster caused by torrential rains in the country. Rivers of mud swept away homes and other infrastructures and cut off roads in several parts of the country, particularly the western province bordering Lake Kivu, where the worst devastation was reported. On Thursday, foreign ministers of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization arrived in India to participate in the summit meeting of foreign ministers of China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. The organization's top diplomats will discuss the agenda for the next meeting of the organization's head of states, which is scheduled to begin on Thursday in India's coastal state of Goa. The 2023 summit marks the first high-level visit by Pakistani officials to neighboring India for more than a decade, with the presence of Pakistan Foreign Affairs Minister Bilawa Bhutto Satari. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met in India with his Pakistani counterpart Bilawa Bhutto Satari to discuss bilateral relations and the situation in Afghanistan. According to a statement issued by the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the two top diplomats met in the context of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Council of Foreign Ministers held in the Indian state of Goa on May the 4th and the 5th. The two government officials commemorated cooperation between Moscow and Islamabad and on the international stage, including on highly respected multilateral platforms such as the United Nations and the SCO. The President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, ended a two-day official visit to Damascus on Thursday, a trip that served to consolidate the strong strategic alliance between Syria and the Persian nation. Our correspondent in Damascus, Hisham, news with the details.
The Iranian president dedicated part of his trip to visit the shrine of Sayyida Zainab in the south of the Syrian capital, a site of great religious value for Syrians and their Iranian brothers, from where President Raisi praised the Syrian people's 12 years of resistance to terrorism, thanked Syria and its president for facing sedition, and ratified his country's willingness to contribute to the reconstruction of the Arab nation.
I would like to thank the government and people of Syria on my behalf and that of the Iranian government and people for its resistance and for this great victory. And also, I would like to thank His Excellency, President Bashar al-Assad, and all Syria for facing sedition with all your wisdom.
The Iranian head of state also ratified from Damascus the firm support of his country to the just Palestinian cause and to the resistance as the only way to face the Zionist occupation. These statements were made during a meeting he held in the Syrian capital with the leaders of the Palestinian factions.
This meeting is a clear message from the Islamic Republic of Iran to stick to its principled stance, to always stand by the side of the Palestinian resistance, and that Iran, as government and people, will spare no effort to strengthen the Palestinian resistance as one of the main pillars of the axis of resistance, until victory is achieved and the Zionist occupation is eliminated.
Before concluding his visit, President Raisi met with the Joint Syrian-Iranian Businessmen's Forum, a meeting where he stressed that the authorities of the two nations would soon solve the problems resulting from coercive measures by the West that hindered the development of binational cooperation in the economic and commercial fields.
We trust that the visit of President Ibrahim Raisi to Damascus and the agreements he signed with President Bashar al-Assad will help consolidate and develop bilateral economic cooperation in a way that will help Syria overcome the economic crisis resulting from the blockade and the war, and contribute also to the development and prosperity of this brotherly country.
The political relations between the two countries are excellent, but we must now work to develop economic relations and cooperation in different fields in order to overcome the effects of the blockade imposed on both countries. And in this context, we must also rely on businessmen and the private sector, which can play a very active role in achieving this goal.
The visit of the President of Iran to Syria, in addition to its political significance, marked the beginning of a new stage of Syrian-Iranian fraternal ties, with the signing of a comprehensive long-term strategic cooperation plan and 14 other cooperation documents in fields vital to the development and prosperity of both allied nations and the entire resistance bloc.
Hisham News, teleSUR, Damascus, Syria.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For teleSUR English, I'm from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.